Okay. Decided to try some experimental format with mostly just a talkative video where I would just share my opinion with the minimal amount of editing. Well, at least I hope so. Let's see how that goes. FOMO, fear of missing out. Actually, a very interesting concept, or rather, a very relevant concept, as I would put it, because actually I've learned this definition quite recently only. Although I may definitely say that I've known the feelings, the emotions that stand behind it a long time ago. Or rather, I felt it. I guess everybody today's know this feeling because this is all about how we perceive information, or rather how it is being given to us. In particular, I'm speaking about this nasty feeling that not getting or not having some information, not knowing it, is a disaster. All of that has created this feeling that if you are misinformed, if you haven't tried something, if you're not aware of something, you are out. That you are not a part of the modern life, that you are not a part of the modern narrative, that you are not a part of everything that's going on, that you are actually not living, which is essentially a false feeling. And since this is a gaming channel, I've realized that FOMO is a great definition for how I would describe the dominant part of the gaming industry right now. You know, this works that way that there are certain ideas, concepts, feelings, but there is no this well-rounded definition, no well-rounded term for it. And I realized that FOMO is a great thing to describe it. I guess my main complaint to the modern gaming industry would be the fact that it is very fast food like. Honestly, for the most projects, I don't feel them to be very contentful, I don't feel for them to be to have this effort, this desire to share interesting ideas and concept put. Of course, this is not correct to say for the entire gaming industry. Not all the games are like that. But this is definitely the case for the dominant part. And the reason why I call this video FOMO in terms of games, because in fact, most games, especially online games, exploit this feeling of FOMO that has created in the human's mind. And actually, I think that these games fostered quite significantly to creating this feeling. Obviously, a huge role in creating this FOMO feeling has played the online games and the fancy funky stuff that is present inside them. Skins, battle passes, challenges, temporary events, all of that and the way it is presented has created this situation when a player needs and wants to play not to enjoy the game, not to play with friends, not to get into the story, into the atmosphere, into the environment, but rather grind as much as possible, just not to miss these important things. And from my perspective, this is a disaster because it completely ruins the entire idea, the entire gaming thing that can be created by games, a world that you can immerse into and live another life through. By themselves, if you think about it, challenges, temporarily things, skins, all of this stuff is not bad by themselves. They were there many years ago. However, they were not into this form that it is right now, with them not being a very supplementary thing or rather something that is quite compelling and works nice for the general picture. Instead, they have become this general picture. It appears that for modern games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, FIFA, other games, there is actually no other reason to play them. There is actually nothing else that would make a player to play but this feeling of FOMO and the temporarily content that the game is full of. Each new battle pass, each new season, each new event that you just need, it just craves for you to spend more and more hours in. And this cycle of the temporarily content, it appears and it runs again and again, and it basically makes you to treat these games as a job, not as something that you would enjoy, not as something that you would just turn on in the evening and enjoy, either playing alone or with your friends. No, it's just a race, it's just a constant grind for what? I mean, I don't want to say that all these skins are worthless. Everyone's here to decide if this is worth it or not. But the problem is, they dominate the game so much that it is eventually not the game part that is the main here, but all these fancy things. And I guess this is just disgusting, this is just terrible. And the most disastrous thing is that it has all resulted in the situation when all the games, well, most of the games, are very soulless, I would say, very spineless, with nothing actually interesting and solid behind them. It's very common, and I also did that on this channel, to complain about more games being the more games lacking new ideas, new topics, interesting things. And there is no surprise, because why would you do that if FOMO would save you? If the feeling of a need to chase something every day, every hour, every minute is more important to a player than the other parts of the game, than the interesting gameplay or the interesting environment. And a bad thing is that FOMO has transferred not only to online games, but also to single player games in a way. I guess I won't be alone in this feeling that when I play a single player game, there is a small tiny feeling that I need to complete it as fast as possible. Even though I'm enjoying the game, I'm enjoying the story, I'm enjoying the environment, I'm enjoying the atmosphere, everything, there is this small feeling that I need to run to the finish. I need to do this as fast as possible. And one may say this is a problem of the game, because you are not really 100% interested in that. And you'll be right, but this is for everything. This is for games that I purely enjoy. This is about games that I speak about with my friends, which I share as my favorite games. And this is not the problem of games. This is the problems of the other games, which has created inside of me the feeling that I need to complete as much games as possible, as fast as possible. That would be a crime for me to miss on many games. And actually I feel it, I experience it. Another nasty symptom that it has borne is the feeling that I need to buy as much games as possible using discounts. I don't know if you have noticed, but the notifications that there are discounts, that there are promotions, that there are new fancy games available have become more active than it used to be. I guess right now when you turn on a PlayStation, the first thing that you see are not your games. Well, there is this menu, but the first thing that you see, or rather, the first thing that you're notified about, this might be not 100% right as I'm saying this, but I'm pretty sure that I spot new discounts, new promotions every time I turn on my PS5. And has borne the situation when I buy games, quite a lot of games, seeing the promotions, but I never played them. And this is just ridiculous. I spend my money that I have earned with my hard job, and I never played these games. I never used this money, essentially. In some way, the subscription-based model of delivering games has also played in hands of this FOMO feeling, because first of all, the subscription is a temporary thing. That's why it's called a subscription. It requires you to play the games that you have in the subscription as fast as you can. But at the same time, I guess I won't be alone here saying that the abundance of the games in the subscription just overwhelm you. There are so many games that you actually don't know what to take. And the second thing is that for PlayStation, for Sony, there are some games that appear and disappear from the subscription. And this feeling that you may lose the opportunity to play some good game actually pushes you to play it as fast as you can, or it pushes you to think about it in a way that, oh, I need to play this game or it's going to disappear from the PlayStation subscription. I mean, obviously, I'm happy to see subscription. Like, I am for this way of delivering games, for sure, as a player. But I realize that it has definitely contributed to the FOMO feeling that we have. Now, how to deal with it? I won't say that I'm 100% know how to do that, because I experienced this feeling. I know it. However, there are definitely rationalities that would help to at least minimize this feeling, or at least alleviate it to the way that you would actually genuinely enjoy the games more than you do right now. The first thing that you need to do is to realize that this is happening. Yeah, I know it sounds easy, but actually this is not that simple as, admitting that I'm playing shit every day. This is nothing wrong to play Call of Duty. I used to play Call of Duty, and I don't think I had this constant feeling of missing out, but it was definitely here, because at some point I realized that I was grinding just for grinding. I gave up playing Call of Duty not because of it, it just has slided away, and generally I'm playing more single player games right now. But I realized that truly understanding and admitting that I'm going through a gaming FOMO is not that easy as it may seem. Second realization that you need to do is to realize that you don't owe anything to any game, any developer, any game that you bought. You do not need to play FIFA every weekend. You don't need to complete this weekend league or whatever it's called because you bought the game. There is no rule to do this. There is no teacher, no mother, no parent. There is no policeman that will punish you for not doing that. You have already skipped the weekend league, for sure. And apparently, the world is still running. You can transfer this analogy to many other things, but it's just realizing that you have already done that. This is like for a smoker. A smoker doesn't smoke when they fly 9 hours from Europe to the US, but they don't die. Yeah, they might feel uncomfortable, but they don't die. next step would sound quite radical, but you probably need to resign from the online games. Not for the eternity, not forever, just for some time. Actually, for some short time. It would be ideal if you could delete all your online games, even if you like them so much. And the reason is because it would actually make you and allow and give you the room, the emotional and the moral room, to play other games, in particular single player games. I don't think there are any specific games that you should play. There is more how you should play them. Try to immerse into the stories. Try to immerse into the atmosphere. Try to live through games as you live through books. Try to treat the games, the single player games, as books. I guess I won't be the first one to tell this concept of easy dopamine in the world. The internet is full of these discussions. But the funny thing is that the online games that you need to grind, that you need to chase something, are the cheap dopamine. The skins, the characters, all these stuff are the cheap dopamine that you get again and again and again. And online and single player games that require you to sit, to immerse, to get into the stories are in fact the hard dopamine, or whatever you would call it. It's something that would work for you in the long run. You probably have games that you speak about in a very, I would say, way that you tell your friends about. Something like, this is my favorite game. This was a crazy story. This was an amazing story. These are the hard dopamine. This is something that you have enjoyed so much that you would tell about your friends, people, the world. I don't think that you would tell about 100 matches that you played over a weekend in Call of Duty. I don't think you would, honestly. I don't think you would tell about the fancy skins you've earned because of it. And when you're playing the single player games, try to avoid distractions. Really, again, treat them as books. Try to put your phone off. Do not put on a Twitch stream in the background of the second monitor. Just focus on a game. Because every moment you take your phone to update the Twitter feed, it adds up to your distraction, to you not being immersed, not being attached with the game. Don't do it. I mean, this is not like me prohibiting you to use the phone. That's up to you, but just realize that immersing, the feeling of immersing into the gaming world would be much better without a phone. And if you are a person like me who have bought a lot of games and haven't played them, I guess the best solution would be, and actually I've done it myself, just open your gaming library and just get shocked by how many things you have and how many great things you have that you actually wanted to play, and I think you still want to play them inside your head. This is actually the great time to do this. You can solve this problem without purchasing any other games. An additional thing that I don't really feel like being 100% confident to speak about the indie games. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm not really into the indie games. I don't really know a lot of them. I haven't played a lot of them. I played a few, but I realized how much value they bring to the games, and in fact how much joy and how much new experience you can get from them. And actually, this is something that can potentially bring you the pleasure back of playing video games. That's something that can potentially try to alleviate this feeling of having a second job when you turn on your console or your computer for gaming. The games are not running anywhere, and nobody makes you to play them all at once. You will get the time to play each of them. They're sitting in your library or on your bookshelf. Obviously, this is not the case for some games. There are games that are having their servers turned off, so there is no way you could play them today. But this happens. But for the most games, for the single player games, they are all there. They're all there in your disposal. And it doesn't mean that you can't play multiplayer games anymore. As I said, this is just a temporary solution. I don't really play online games these days that much, and honestly, I'd like to get back to the online games. I'd like to get back to this competitive feeling of, trying to be better than somebody, trying to nail someone. But I'm not playing these games that much, not because I just get rid of the online games completely. No, it's just because I don't really get pleasure from the most online games right now. I like FPS games, online FPS games, and I'm actually waiting quite hard for the new Battlefield that has been just announced, which apparently will go to the roots of the series. Although I realize that it probably is going to have quite a lot of Fomo things inside of it, but again, fingers crossed for it to be good. Still, I don't have anything yet to say about it. Don't want to say anything bad. But again, nothing obliges you to ditch the online games forever. This is okay to play them, but this is okay to play them to enjoy them, not to grind them. What is the point for having a console for a single game only? Try many things. There are so many things in your disposal. There are so many great games, so many great products and artworks essentially. Focus on something long term, on something that would give you pleasure not instantly for 5 minutes that you will forget, but something that you would enjoy after many years, and maybe you would come back to it or you would share somebody with it. I enjoy sharing The Last of Us with different people and later on discussing after them completing the games. I have at least 2 such people in my life that have played The Last of Us after my advice, I would say. And it's such a great feeling to discuss it. That's it. Nothing else to say.